The Murders at Karlov Manor Commander decks have been officially revealed. I was going to make a video today talking about my top 10 new favorite commander cards from the decks. Don't worry, you will be getting a video on that. But as these deck lists were being revealed, I, as well as a lot of other people, were noticing the reprint value of these commander decks is like absolutely insane. So today I'm just going to recap all of the high value reprints from all of the new commander decks to see if you'd be interested in buying any of these new commander decks for the reprints alone. So we're going to start off with the worst value deck. And that's going to be the red-white blame game deck. There was only 2-ish notable reprints in this one, but this one is a fucking doozy. I don't know if anyone says that anymore, but whatever. Fiendish Duo. This is a $40 card. And realistically, the only reason it's this high is because it's only been printed once. And that one printing was from fucking Game Night 2019, which like wasn't even a real thing. And it was basically the only good card in there. So this reprint is very welcome. Lore End of the Third Path was also reprinted, which was a $10 card. And I actually don't know how this card got so fucking expensive, but here we are. It's a welcome reprint. And then Brash Tantra, which was $3.50. So this is the worst reprint value of any of the decks, just because there's only one huge hit being the Fiendish Duo, which is gonna probably tank now. Next, we're gonna take a look at the Naya Deadly Disguise precon. And we have some nice juicy reprints in here, the top two being Seedborn Muse and Jessica's Will. Jessica's Will is one of those cards that gets reprinted, drops down like $5, and then immediately just starts climbing back up again. So this is one of the cards that just needs to be reprinted as many times as possible. Just fucking ran into the ground with reprints in order to keep this price under like 15 bucks. And Seedborn Muse hasn't actually seen a reprint since Commander Collection Green, which was in like, I don't know, 2020, I'm pretty sure. And so given that it's been like 4 years since that's last happened, I'm not surprised it's crept back up to like 14 bucks. Besides that, we have some pretty nice right under $10 cards. Toski, Neheb the Eternal, and Oran Frostfang being the nice ones. Oran Frostfang was a card that was like $30 because it had just one printing in Commander 2019, but thankfully it got reprinted to Commander Masters, bringing it back down to 6. And I have a feeling if it didn't get reprinted here or anytime within the next year, it would creep slowly back up to like 10, 12, 13 bucks. Toski once again only had one printing, which is back in Kaldheim, so this reprint should bring its price back down to like 3 to 4 bucks, which is solid. And Neheb the Eternal is still sitting around $8 despite just getting reprinted in Commander Masters, you know? That's good, at least it wasn't the $27 or whatever it was before it got its reprint. The last two notable reprints are 3 Visits and Beast Whisperer. Well, Beast Whisperer is only like 3.5 bucks. This is one of the cards that slots into so many decks, so you just need once again to keep hammering it into the ground with reprints so that it stays under 5 bucks. And 3 Visits, the fucking Nature's Lore ripoff that's been printed like a handful of times, is somehow $6 still, but this is just another card that needs to be getting hammered into the ground with reprints. Next, we're on to the Revenant Recon Dimir deck. And this is a Dimir Surveil Reanimate deck, so these first 3 reprints make a ton of sense and are also fucking huge. The first one being Rise of the Dark Realms, currently sitting at $20, really needed that. The second one being Reanimate, pretty much just a constant $14, $15 card. Hopefully this will bring it back down to like 9. And the third one is actually big, Necromancy. This is one of the weird enchantment-based reanimate spells, but this one can be played at flash speed, which is fine. This is its first real reprint ever. It was first printed in Visions and then had a fucking list card, which doesn't actually count. So this $18 enchantment should hopefully drop down to like 3 to 4 bucks. Although if Animate Dead is any inclination, it'll probably stay at around 5 to 6. Speaking about Animate Dead, this card also just got reprinted. It's currently sitting at $5. I don't expect it to drop that much lower, maybe 3, and then creep back up to 5 within the next year or so. We also got some reprints of some nice reanimation targets, being Doom Whisperer, Grave Titan, and Sphinx of the Second Sun, sitting at $6.5, $5, and $8 respectively. And then Phyrexian Metamorph, which I'm actually surprised got all the way up to $10, was a much needed reprint as well. I mean, I guess it is fair because this is the only like no drawback 3-mana clone and it hasn't been reprinted since the first Double Masters. The last one is huge, not just because of the actual reprint of the card, but what it is telling us about Wizards reprints policy. It's Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge has been reprinted twice over the past 6 months already, that being in the Lord of the Rings Commander decks and Commander Masters. So getting printed a third time within like 6 to 8 months tells me that Wizards knows that this is a card that they need to keep their eye on, and hopefully what they're going to do to cards like Jessica's Will too, where they every single black precon, every single red precon, just throw it in there, get that price all the way down to like $5. Now for the final deck, the Deep Clue Sea Bant Clues deck. The first really big reprint is Adrix and Niv Twincasters. This is only one printing back in Commander 2021, and is a really nice hit here sitting at $21. Then the second huge hit here is Benny Brack's Zoologist, once again only one printing being in the Streets of New Capenna Commander decks. That's currently sitting at $19. Third and fourth, we have two just fucking overpowered legends, Coma and Chulane, sitting at $13 and $12 respectively. Honestly, I could not tell you why Coma is in this commander deck. I mean, I guess he cares about tokens, but like, this card doesn't care about like clues, artifacts, investigate, so I think it's a weird include. I mean, I'm not complaining, a $13 card that's been printed once is still a $13 card, but interesting. And then Chulane, once again, we're seeing a pattern, this $12 card that was printed one time and is also extremely fucking just broken, honestly, and a highly sought after card, so it's good to see this reprint coming in here. Next up, we have a pair of $8 spells, being Farewell and Finale of Revelation. Farewell being the same thing as Toxic Deluge, just a board wipe that needs to be printed into the ground, and the Finale of Revelation printed one time back in War of the Spark, and we all know that blue mages love their X cost spells that draw X cards. And the last couple of reprints being some nice value creatures, being Academy Manufacturer sitting at $6.50 and Essex Fractal Bloom sitting at $5. Academy Manufacturer, just fucking amazing card that once again needs to be printed into the ground, and it looks like WotC is actually listening to the message here. And that Essex just seems like a fucking house in any deck like this where you're making, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 clues a turn. It's a very nice welcome reprint to see there. So once again, I'm already talking about my top 10 new cards from the new commander set in my next video, but what do you think about these reprints? Are you going to pick any of these decks up like based on the reprints alone, or are you going to also take some of the new cards printed into consideration? Personally, I think I'm going to be picking up the Bant Clues deck, and who knows, I might even make a 10 card in, 10 card out upgrade guide for the channel. Please do all the YouTube bullshit, like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to see my personal top 8 cards that were released in 2023, you can check that out right here. Check it out.